Hey everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Ash and today I'm doing a quick review for the Samurai Collection Qubyte Classics on Xbox. Let's take a look. The Samurai Collection is a remaster collection from PIKO Entertainment and Qubyte Interactive, and it includes two retro games brought back for modern consoles. Now, the Samurai Collection includes First Samurai and the very aptly named Second Samurai. Now, these were developed by Vivid Image originally, and the first one was released in 1991 on the Amiga, eventually coming to MS-DOS and the Super Nintendo, and the second game was released in 93 on the Amiga and 1994 on the Mega Drive. Now, the first game sees you playing as the sort of first samurai in feudal Japan, and you're competing against a variety of rival swordsmen. The second samurai includes two-player mode, which is nice, where you can play as two different samurais. Weirdly, it takes place across time. Like, you start off the game in prehistoric time, and you also end up in the future as well as feudal Japan. There's not a lot sort of depth to the plot. It's a very old school style game where it's just sort of gameplay over story. However, like I say, the games involve you fighting through a variety of different levels, collecting things, and then beating bosses to progress. So, what do we think of these games? Well, these games aren't like mega classics I'd ever heard of. I'd honestly never heard of them until I played this game. But it's really nice to be able to go back and play games from the early 90s on modern consoles. I'm a big advocate of game preservation, and the stuff that Qubyte Interactive and PIKO Interactive are doing to keep these games alive, bringing them out on modern consoles, is absolutely fantastic. Now, the games themselves are a sort of mixed bag. The first game isn't too bad. It's got nice environments. The soundtrack isn't too bad. Like I say, it's got a good art style. The combat and the action is pretty good. The level layouts themselves are slightly confusing, a bit unclear, especially in the earlier levels. And the boss fights are simple at best, but it's still a fun little game. Now, the second game is just crazy. Like I say, you just sort of start and you're beating up monkeys and cavemen on your own, and they just come flying at you in this game. There's a lot of enemies in these games, but in the second game specifically, they seem to just come from everywhere at every moment, and they just flood you, and they just seem to overthrow you. So they are quite difficult games, but they are fun nonetheless. Now, the second game does have co-op, which the first one doesn't, which does add to the second game. However, I think I prefer the premise of the first game over the second game, because in the second game, you have to collect souls, you have to free them from pots, you have to smash them and free them, and you have to get enough souls to sort of progress through the level, because there's things like these soul voids that you have to pass, and you can't pass them unless you've got enough souls. So it's very much a case of beating all the enemies up, picking up loads of power-ups and stuff like that, while also trying to find all these souls. It's a bit hectic, it's a bit crazy. There's lots of sort of power-ups and stuff like that, and you'll die quite a lot and restart. But the second one, like I say, is also very fun. It does have much better graphics, animation and stuff like that, because obviously this is one of the ones that came out on the Mega Drive. However, the first game does have a really nice charm to its graphical qualities. Overall, like I say, these aren't going to blow you away, but it is great to be able to have them as a release on my Xbox. Like I say, I love retro games, and being able to play them on my main console of choice is fantastic. And like I say, being able to play these sort of weird little games that I've never played of as well is an absolute bonus. So overall, while these aren't going to blow you away, there are some really fun things to be had here. Like I say, in the first game you have the ability to use a variety of different abilities to help you progress, sort of using spirits to put out fires and stuff like that. You have like a force meter which you have to build up to be able to use your sword and stuff like that, as well as sort of other abilities. You do spend a lot of time back and forth in trying to make sure you've found everything you need, and sometimes the hit detection is a little wonky, but it's a really cool game that I'd never heard of before, so I can't not recommend it. The second game is an absolute crazy ass sort of like fever dream of a game. Like I say, you start off and it just gets crazier from there when you're throwing monkeys around and stuff, and like cavemen are trying to kick your ass. And I'm not sure exactly why I was there. The story isn't really telling. You just sort of was like, they took the first game, turned it up to 11, and just sort of made it a bit faster, quicker paced, less sort of faffing with like different abilities and stuff like that. It's just more of an action game, and it has co-op, which is nice. Now, I definitely recommend this for retro fans. It won't be for everyone because, like I say, they didn't include the best versions of them on the compilation. Could just be a rights reason, but they did use the SNES version instead of the Amiga versions, which by all accounts are the better versions overall. And also the second Samurai game, the Mega Drive version, is a completely different game than the Amiga version. So they're like two different games. It would have been nice to have all of them included so you could really have a look at the sort of alternatives like other collections out there do have. But the game is priced at only £8.39, so you're getting two retro games that aren't that bad. They are a thing of their time and they're just a bit crazy. But for £8.39 for two games, you can't complain too much. But like I say, as with the other Qubyte classics, they could just do with a little bit more content. Maybe, like I say, the alternative versions. I've never played them all, so I couldn't say overall like how good they stand up to their other versions. But reading stuff online when I was doing a bit of research into it, apparently they're missing the much better versions. So think of that what you will. But the emulation's there and the gameplay's there, so it's a win-win in my book just for having a bit of fun and trying out something from the past. But other than that, thank you for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you soon for more content. Bye for now.